Hi guys, welcome back to the multimedia channel, your favorite sports channel, of course, football channel. I hope that your week is already off to a good start and that of course you had a pleasant weekend. Whenever I come on the channel, then I get to see that the numbers are increasing. It really makes me happy, and for that reason, I want to say a very big thank you. Of course, to those of you who are already subscribed to the channel, it really means a lot to me. And if you're yet to subscribe, I really don't know what you're waiting for. So please and please subscribe to stay up to date with the content that I share on the channel. All right, so today there are quite a number of things to talk about. Quite a number of updates to bring to you guys. Of course, the camp of the Super Eagles has opened and the players are already training, of course, ahead of that very crucial encounter on Saturday. On Friday against South Africa. And then, of course, quite a number of updates, you understand. So the fact that Coach Finidi George, has invited more local players or NPFL players to actually join in that team. So these are some of the things we'll be talking about at the course of the video today. But just before I get right into that, I want to talk about the Champions League, not the Premier League this time. Of course, over the weekend, Real Madrid actually proved again that they are the kings of European football. So just like you have Man City in the reigns of power in England, you have Real Madrid in charge across Europe. Of course, they won the Champions League. They actually beat Dortmund 2-0 in that final, courtesy of goals from their defender, of course, Carvajal, and then Vinicius Junior. To be honest, I really expected Dortmund to win that game, and I know that many of you also were expecting Dortmund to win that game. But football goes beyond expectations. It really respects the team that performs better. And if you watch, I know Dortmund missed quite a number of chances that they should have transformed into goals. We saw the many misses from Adeyemi and then other players of the club. So it means that Real Madrid has actually won the Champions League a record 15 times. That's crazy, man, for one team. When others are still struggling to win one, here you have one club winning it 15 times. It's crazy. And Coach Ancelotti, of course, the coach of Real Madrid, has, by winning that Champions League, become the most successful coach in European Cup history. Of course, he has won a total of 5 Champions Leagues. He won with AC Milan in 2003 and in 2007, and then with Real Madrid in 2014, 2022, and then 2024. So there's just something special about Ancelotti. I don't know if you have noticed, and I feel like other coaches across the globe, particularly in England, if you ask me, are supposed to really come and learn from him. You hardly hear anything about Ancelotti in the media. You hardly see him in the social media, and even when he's playing or his team are playing, he just comes to the touchline 1 or 2 times, but you even hardly see him shouting. You understand? So, and I think that he already understands the crop of players he has. He already understands that these players are highly experienced. So I feel like usually what he tells them is, I don't have anything much to tell you, but just know that I expect you to win this match. You understand? So it really goes to show that it's not about shouting on your players and making them feel like they're not worth it. Sometimes you just need to, that talk you give them in the dressing room, the instructions is just fine, and then watch them as they display, because most of the times when you begin to shout at them, sometimes they just get confused and then they feel like, does it really mean they're not doing well? So that is one thing I've noticed about Ancelotti. He hardly makes noise. He's usually calm and collected. Of course, we saw it in the Champions League final, even when they scored. Of course, I know he's no longer strong, so we don't expect him to run around the field, fall on the floor, roll on the floor because he's celebrating. So I mean, this is one trait that other coaches really need to pick from Ancelotti. So congratulations to he and his side, and He already thinks that Vinicius Junior deserves the Ballon d'Or. That's the coach for, because of course he has scored in multiple Champions League finals, not just this one. And I think it was um, a fantastic pattern gift for Toni Kroos, of course, who is leaving the club at the end of this season. He's leaving the club at the end of this season, having sacrificed many years. I mean, Toni Kroos is one player I really, really respect. I know there were days when Manchester United were really like, chasing after the player. I don't really know what happened, but I really wanted Manchester United to sign him at the time, but it didn't go through, and then he went to Real Madrid. So he has really achieved a lot. As a matter of fact, he has achieved a lot. So this is saying congratulations to him, of course, as he retires, and of course as he leaves the club finally. Yeah. So in that final, or after they won the trophy, we saw a video of Jude Bellingham actually asking Jose Mourinho to take a picture with his mom. I think his mom is really a fan of the former Chelsea and AS Roma coach. So he actually approached him and said, okay, well, can you take a picture with my mom? And then of course Mourinho accepted, and then they took that picture. Of course, we saw very beautiful scenes from that final. Yeah, so moving on to what we have, Super Eagles coach Finidi George has actually called up Enugu Rangers left back. He's known as Kenneth Igbokwe for the World Cup qualifiers. He has also called up Ibrahim Olawoyin, who plays in Turkey. Of course, after Nathan Taylor excused himself due to family reasons, Finidi George has had to call up more NPFL players. It is really encouraging. I mean, this is one thing that I really appreciate Finidi George for, giving NPFL players the chance, the opportunity to actually prove themselves. And like I've always said, we need to get to that point where we begin to encourage local players who have the talent, who are passionate about football and have something to show, to get to that point where they would also shine. And that's one thing that Finidi is beginning to do. And yeah, so we've had many people really, thank him for making some of those moves and for giving these guys the opportunity. Yeah, so the likes of Victor Boniface, Chukwueze, Ismail, and then Ndidi, among others, have actually arrived in Uyo, which is going to be the venue of that match on Friday against South Africa. And trainings have resumed. So we've seen several pictures of the coach himself and other players arriving, and then of course training ahead of that very crucial encounter. As a matter of fact, it's a must-win for Nigeria if they must qualify for the World Cup. Of course, after that match, I think 3 days later or so, they will now play Benin Republic. That's on the 10th. So I just wish them well. And the thing is, I'm thankful that, of course, we now have the likes of Victor Boniface fully fit and back and ready to play. Unlike what happened in the AFCON final, where we missed him because he was out injured. So, of course, Stanley Nwabali has said that there is no form of rivalry between he and Maduka Okoye, of course, who recently returned to the Super Eagles. Of course, he's part of the squad that have been called up for the qualifiers. So, according to him, he says that what matters is quality, and that whoever performs better should be given the chance to actually show what he is. Moving forward, the coach of Bafana, Hugo Bruce, has actually said that he's positive that his side would actually qualify for a place in the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and that it will of course begin by beating Super Eagles on the 7th of June. So he said that he has put in the work with his players. I mean, it's usually normal for coaches to brag before matches, and of course it's normal. So what matters is what would happen that day. So I wish him luck, but of course you can't really write off these Super Eagles players. I believe that they are prepared, so we just need to watch and wait and see what happens that day. I mean, it's just a few days away. So moving forward, Troost Ekong, of course, the captain of the Super Eagles, has said that Nigeria cannot afford to lose against South Africa on the 7th. Of course, he will not be part of the team since he's still recovering. I don't think he's fully recovered. Even if he is, of course, he's been dropped by Finidi George, who thinks that he needs more time to fully recover. I mean, he would have time to play when the club qualifies for the World Cup, I believe. But of course, he's been on ground to support the team, having arrived for his charity football match. Of course, he owns an academy and he's also selling out jerseys to raise funds to support his foundation. And he has been visiting orphanages. Of course, we saw pictures of his team, and then his children, trying to give them a sense of belonging. Nothing really beats that. It's not about making money, it's about touching lives at the end of the day. So he played his charity match. I think it was on Saturday or so. We saw pictures of guys in the entertainment industry and ex-players of the Super Eagles who were part of that match. So you had the likes of Sabinus, comedian Sabinus, and Odumodu Black, Joseph Yobo, and then Vincent Inyama. All of them were part of that team. They came out to really support Troost Ekong, who I believe is such a fantastic, beyond the pitch. He's really doing well to give back to the community. It was fun. I mean, we had most of the players miss penalties, and then I believe that they would now understand that it's not easy to play football. It's not easy at all. So we also saw a video of when they were trying to sing the new national anthem. It was funny because most of them couldn't sing it, and I was looking at their lips. I didn't even know what they were singing, but it was really fun to watch at the end of the day. So moving on, Cross River State Governor Basio has actually gifted Super Eagles player forward Terry Murphy 10 million naira, of course, for representing the state and of course for getting to the finals of the African Cup of Nations in Ivory Coast. I mean, Terry Murphy is one player I really admire. He's got control of the ball, so he's been recognized by his state governor. Of course, this is coming after quite a number of players were recognized by their state government. So you had the likes of Troost Ekong himself. You had the likes of Stanley Nwabali recognized in River State, and then Moses Simon in Benue State, and then quite a number of them like that. So moving forward, the NFF has actually said that it is working to ensure that players of the Super Eagles actually learn the new national anthem before their matches against South Africa and Benin Republic. It go hard though. I don't know. Well, I just hope it's something they can achieve before that match. I just hope they can achieve that because it's usually not easy. I mean, these players have a lot of things they are thinking about. Yeah, but hopefully they would learn. I mean, if if you sing and that, they just bite your tongue or look for something else and sing, so it looks like you are part of what is happening. Yeah. So moving on, David Moss, who is a scout for the likes of Swansea City, Crystal Palace and Celtic, is set to embark on what has been described as an exciting venture to Nigeria. He was said to have scouted, Troost Ekong while he was playing back in the days. So he will be in Lagos and then Kaduna, where he will work with, of course, the Troost Ekong Foundation and OE Sports Management Limited to actually scout for players. And the fact is that you can argue this. I don't think there's any country in the world, in the entire world, as a matter of fact, that is gifted as Nigeria is, when it comes to talent. So what we really need to do is to begin to invest in these talents. There are many of them who are in villages, in communities, in hard-to-reach communities, and they're looking for opportunities to actually show the world what they've got. And I believe that platforms such as this, would really serve a great deal. So it's a very welcome development. But the fact is that many people really need to invest in this kind of ideas. Yeah. So moving on, Crystal Palace goalkeeper, he's known as Owen Goodman. Most recently paid a visit to the Nigerian Football Federation President Ibrahim Goso. That was months after he was handed an invite to the Flying Eagles training camp in January 2023 ahead of the Under-20 African Cup of Nations tournament, but he failed to honor it because, of course, according to him, he was waiting for a call up from England. But I think that didn't work, and now he's come back to to see if he can get a chance. And I don't know. The thing is, we have players of Nigerian descent scattered across the continent. We have many of them playing for countries like England. Yeah, very many of them, and they really need to come back. They really need to come back because, of course, they would have opportunities waiting for them here. And I know that part of the reasons why most of the times they refuse to come back and rather just stay in England or in other places where they are is because of the stories of how players are treated, how they are unfairly treated, how they are treated with disrespect. But I believe that the situation is beginning to change. Yeah, so I really hope that the likes of Adeyemi, the likes of Eze, the likes of Olise would reconsider their decisions and then come back to Nigeria, because like I would always say, we have the capacity to become the best continent, the best country in the world in terms of football. I mean, we could beat any country you can think of when it comes to football because we've got the talents scattered across the world. I really hope they would consider these reasons and then see how they can come back to contribute to the growth and development of the country's footballing sector. Yeah, so as usual, I want you to share your thoughts. What do you think about the fact that Real Madrid has again proven to be the kings of European football? I mean, by winning the Champions League after beating Dortmund over the weekend. Just share your thoughts. What do you also think about how calm Ancelotti is usually when he's in the touchline? I mean, he's proven to be the master when it comes to Champions League football. Just share your thoughts about how wonderful he is. Also talk about the fact that the training camp for the Super Eagles has opened. What are your expectations from the players? Who do you see shining on Friday against South Africa? And then, of course, moving forward. Yeah, so just share your thoughts and then also talk about the fact that Finidi George is really giving players of the NPFL a chance to shine. What does it really say about how committed he is to grooming local players? Yeah, so just share your thoughts on the comment section. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.